Sorry, you beat up 4 kids yesterday.
Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. We're holding in Menachos Daf Samechei. We're starting the Mishnah. And the Samechei Amudav Zok the Mishnah. Ketzad heb oisim. How do they do this? The Ktsira soimer, meaning cutting the barley and preparing the oimer. Shluchi Bezdin Yoitzi Me'av Yantev. They go Me'av Yantev. Voisim oiso kikoris b'mechuber l'karka k'desh yinoach liktor. You made bundles out of it. In the field, you have barley. You want to make it as easy as possible because they're going to do it even when it falls on Shabbos. But you want to make it easy so they can cut it right away and bring it to Beis Hamikdash. So the Shluchei Beis Din go out and they make these bundles. All the cities around, they come to the place where they do the Ktsira. They wanted to make a big isik out of it, which means a big tumult, make a lot of noise, as we'll see in a moment. Once it became dark, he asks, is it evening? Because we're doing it right after Yom Tov. Is it evening? He asks, they answer. Mogulzu, should I use this sickle? The answer back, yes. It's like a chanting. Magal, should I use the sickle? Everybody says, yeah, use the sickle. Kupazu, should I use this basket? Kupazu, B'Shabbos, Shabbazu, should we do it on Shabbos? Yes, Shabbazu, Ektor, should I harvest? And we look tor. Ektor, and we look tor. Sholish, Pa'imim, Kol Dova Dova. Every question he did 3 times. They say 3 times, yes. Why? The Baitusim said, you don't cut the oimer on Motzei Yom Tov. Meaning you do it on Sunday, as we'll see in a moment. They held that you always do it on Sunday. So if you have Yom Tov like this year, the Yom Tov falls on a Thursday, so you don't do it on a Thursday night. You do it Motzei Shabbos, you do it after Shabbos. You have to push it off. So against the Baitusim came the whole idea, this whole async. Says the Gemara, this is a quote, if you remember, from Maseches Tainis. This comes from a sefer which is called Megillas Tainis. Megillas Tainis tells you all the days that are days of Simcha, that you're not allowed to fast in those days, and some of them you're not allowed to do a hesped, which is more than just fasting. What is that? From the first Nisan till the 8th of Nisan, Isakom Temido. So then the Korban HaTamid was established in the right way to learn the Misplat, not to do aspect. From the 8th day until after Pesach, that's when the Shavuos was established to learn the Misplat. You don't do aspect, that's arguer. So arguer says that both of these times were made up or became happy days, meaning the whole Nisan, from Rosh Nisan until Pesach, and not to have aspect, not only not to have aspect, there's other Gersois that say maybe not to have a tiny aspect, you could have. Okay. Explain the Gemara. Until the 8th, it took him to Midah, the Talmud was standing, the little Mispad, what was it? The Tzdukim said an individual could donate a Talmud. My Dorsh. Every individual could bring his own carbon. Maya Hadju, what do they answer? Or the Girsay Maya Hadju Lahu, what do they answer to them? As Korbani Lichmi Lishai Tishmeru, plural. Shukulim Baim, which was a Lish class that come from the Mishkan. And the first one did not have any raya. As Rashi points out, that one of the Yisros we have, that these first 8 days was not as happy because you could do a hesped, because it wasn't such a win, because they had no source. They just said, it says Tas, there's no raya, because the Lo Shanyach, you could say for Rabbim as well. So that was argument number 1. The Tzdukim, they said they could bring Talmud, every individual could bring his own Talmud. From the 8th until the end of the Moed, that's when Shavuos was established. The Mispah, not to Esbet, the Baitusim said that Shavuos is after Shabbos. That's what he said. Nitpalin Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai came to argue with him. V'amar shoitim minayin lechem. You fools! Why do you think that you have to do oimer, k'tzias oimer? Meaning they said that oimer starts after Shabbos, and in Meile Shavuos is after Shabbos, always. So he told him, how do you know that? There was not one person who knew how to answer. They didn't know what was their source to argue. There was one old man. There's like a low grade. He said things that. So you know what happened? Sukkot is 8 days. Pesach is 7 days. Shavuos Min Torah is 1 day. Moshe Rabbeinu felt bad for him, so they gave him only 1 day off. So you know what he did? That's what Moshe Rabbeinu said, quoted, a long weekend. Long weekend. He said, you know what? I'll give you Shavuos on a Sunday, so you'll have a long week. You have Shabbos Sunday. You have 2 days in a row. Shabbos Sunday. What?
I would say Shavuos is only 1 day.
Yeah. So Shavuos will be Sunday. Shabbos is Shabbos. So you have Shabbos Sunday together. Yeah. So make sure that Shavuos will always fall on a Sunday. As the Gemara says. Says the Gemara. It says, so he has to understand. It says, 11 days from Chayiv to Arseir. So Rashi here explains that it means that was the time it's supposed to take for Am Yisrael to go from Mitzrayim to Eretz Yisrael, 11 days. That's what it's supposed to take. Taiz brings Rashi in Chumash that says that those days, that took 11 days, they were supposed to take 11 days, it took them 3 days. That's the beginning of the Midbar. Meaning they could have gone very fast. One of these two ideas, they keep going very fast. Something one of some Chavod Beis, Moshe Rabbeinu Rabbi Yisrael, Lama Yichon Bamidbar Boim Shono. Moshe Rabbeinu loves Am Yisrael so much. Why is he dragging them in the mirror for 40 years? They can do much faster. Amalei Rebbe B'Kakat Patrani. So he told him, what kind of question is that? Rashi, he puts it out. It's not a real answer. The 40 years was a punishment. How they couldn't do it faster? Our Torah is Shalom, is emes. You just make up things. So the way the word dashes right now, it says 50 days and it says 7 weeks. Haketzat. If Yom Tov was on Shabbos, so you're going to count 7 weeks. Because 7 weeks from Sunday to Shabbos. If it falls in the middle of the week, it'll be 50 days. Right away, it says not 50 days. It's 49 days. So it means it's 50 days, you get till the 50th day. Meaning, but it's not 4 weeks. That's the first shot over here. We're skipping the parentheses. You should count for yourself. Right? They know how to do Chiddush. And what is it in Menachos Shabbos? Menachos Yom Tov. Yom Tov Shabbos Bereishis Firosa B'chol Adam. A weekday thing it's not something that depends on Beis Din. Everybody knows the week. So what is it telling you? So that's what? The fact that it says that you should count means the count that we're doing. Or brings a few other sources.
What are we trying to do here?
To bring a raya in the Torah, the Menachos Shabbos doesn't mean Shabbos Bereishis. Because when you read the Psukim in the Torah, you could explain it like the Baitusim. It says Menachos Shabbos, start counting after Shabbos. Maybe it means from Sunday. You start counting Sunday, the 50th day. Says the Gemara, no, why not? Now we're going to bring now about 7 or 8 different explanations, 2 different brises. What is the source that we count Omer right after Pesach, right after the first day of Pesach? So the first one was because it says 50 days and 7 weeks. That's one source. The other one, it says sphere that has to do with Beis Din, not based on weeks. Count days and have a month. You count the days of the month to get to the month. Count days to get the Shavuos. Meaning, the way Rashi learns it, right after the Moilud is Rosh Chodesh. So then also, Shavuos is very close to the beginning. If you turn it says Shabbos, you see it says you have to wait for after Shabbos. You don't see that it's so close to the beginning of the month. It can be delayed, right? Right. So, in other words, the way Rashi says it, if I count from right after Pesach, I know it's very easy, 50 days after Pesach. But if it depends on a Sunday, so I always have to do other cheshbonis. It's not always a fixed date. It's not so deep. By Pesach, it's right away you do it in the beginning of the Chag. Meaning, Shavuos is the beginning of the Chag. You do it when you bring it. It's the first day of Chag. Afkan regular so you're supposed to be the regular beginning. So the second day of Pesach, not the first, but not later. If you do it after Shabbos, it can be later. It says Shabbos in both. But Shavuos is a one day Yom Tov. So the beginning of the regel is close to it. No, see, let's start the next brayso. One brings another brayso with different rayas. Each one has to count. I will get soon into Sfir Sohim, and that will be next tomorrow's daf. Menachos the Shabbos, Machas Yom Tov. We know Machas Shabbos Bereishis maybe it means regular Shabbos. So one brings other opinions. You always should be 50 days. Means for Pesach the Shavuos. Shabbos Bereishis, but each time would say Chamishi Be'echod, פעם מישהו רוצה 52, 53, 54, 55, 56. If you have to wait for Sunday, so depends on Pesach is, you'll be counting much more than 50 days till Shavuos. Because you're counting, like this, Rashi brings, this year, that Pesach falls on a Thursday, so you can be counting 52 days, because you're counting also Shabbos and Friday. We read him say, now from there, this we saw already, the answer we said before. Sphere has to do with Bezin, not everybody else. Maybe it means Shabbos. Doesn't say in the Torah which Shabbos, it just has Shabbos. How do I know which Shabbos to count for? Is a Shabbos, which Shabbos? So one answer is the fact doesn't designate which one, so I talk about Yom Tov. Similar idea we said before, has to be the beginning of the Chag. Another shito. One says you should eat matzah for 6 days. One says you do 7 days. Why 6 and 7? So the idea is that the matzah you bring once you bring the oimer. So the oimer, if it's chodosh, you can't eat on the first day of Pesach. You have to bring it only on the second day. So you either eat the matzah for 7 days if it's old grain, or 6 days if it's new grain. But if you tell me that you don't do the oimer until Sunday, doesn't mean you can eat for 6 days. It means only for 2 days or 3 days. So many sources. The Gemara we'll go back to tomorrow's daf to see. The Gemara is going to doich many of them and say some of them are good mekaris. And this is really the discussion. Do we say, when does oimer come and when is first oimer? So I want to say one point over here in the name of my Rebbe Moshe Pirzitzal, because you know with Shul Machshav on his daf, with another addition that I thought about today, you have to still verify, so it's still raw. But the first part is like this: what's shot? The Baitusim, that's their, this is the classic machlokes the Chacham had with the Tzdukim, with the Baitusim. They wanted to have Sfir Soimer after Shabbos Bereishis. What's the point? The idea is, what does Baitusim hold? They don't believe in Torah Shebaal Peh. What's the mile of Torah Shebaal Peh? The mile of Torah Shebaal Peh is that we can do our own Chidushim. We can do our own Torah. We'll give the Torah, but we can add to it and expand upon it and do our own. That's Torah Shebaal Peh. The Baitusim deny that. They say, no, Torah is what we got from Hashem, but we are not an active player over here. So Mele says like this. Put back the zoom because I'm off. He says like this. This is why this is the epic machlokes that we have. Because if you think about it, think about it, this is what the Beitusim are coming to argue on Chachamim. Chachamim is saying that we could count. What the Beitusim is saying is you don't have your own weeks.
What?
Your own weeks. A week is what Hakadosh Baruch Hu made a week. Week starts on Sunday and the Shabbos. You have to follow the existing framework. You're not going to create your own thing. We believe, no, we create our own. Especially we get the Shavuos for Torah. We create our own week. It says Shiva Shavuos. I'll tell you when the first day of the week is. Whenever we decide Yom Tov is, that's the next day or the first day. So it's a B'chlekes B'atzim, is a human being have the power to change the procedures. The Beitusim say no. The Chachamim say yes. So you may, that's the thing. So comes Chachamim and say, you don't have to go with the Shas Bereshis. So you say, no, the only weeks we have is one to start on Sunday. Maybe we can add to that. And this, I'm trying to still find a source to complete it. We find over here, there's two groups that were denying Chachamim. Tzdukim and Beitusim. If you look carefully in our Gemara, you'll see this Mishnah brought the argument of a Tzduki and a Beitusi. The Tzduki said that the Talmid can come by individual. The Beitusim said, we can't count the weeks. Interesting, that's the Tzduki, that's the Beitusi. Maybe one could say the following. This I want to find still a source for it. That when you deny the idea of Torah Shabbat Peh, you can go to two extremes. Either you hold or nothing. I don't have the power to do anything. Or you say, we're super powerful. But we could do our own thing. I don't need to go. I'm not bound by the Torah Shabbat. Because Torah Shabbat and Torah Shabbat are not related to each other. If I'm denying Torah Shabbat, what am I saying? I'm saying either I'm a nobody, there's only Torah Shabbat, or I'm saying I'm so powerful that I'm not bound by Torah Shabbat. When the Torah Shabbat is in me, it's Torah Shabbat, and then I can add to it. Maybe that's in Tzdukim and Beitusi. Beitusi, as we said, failed. We have no say. So they're the ones that saying counting only goes from Sunday. But the Tzduki says, no, we can do our own Talmid. We're so powerful. I don't need to even. I'm not bound by part of that tzibur to bring the Korban Talmid. I can bring my own Korban Talmid. And both of them were denying this daf. The Tzduki and the Beitusi. Maybe that's a way to put it together. Interesting mahalach. More about that, which are a little late. So it won't be recorded for probably at least till tomorrow.
Why we have 2 days Shavuos if we don't want to